Let's talk about diaphragmatic breathing. I'm going to talk you through how to do diaphragmatic breathing, but first I want to just give you some idea of what the mechanisms are behind it and why it's so useful and so important. When we're stressed, we ignite the fight and flight response in our bodies. We get a lot of adrenaline and then we get a lot of cortisol going on. Breathing as part of the fight or flight response becomes quite shallow. It tends to be up in the ribs. We tend not to get out of that breathing pattern either. But the importance of a diaphragmatic breath, so a belly breath, breathing into here, can't be overlooked. A diaphragmatic breath allows your diaphragm to go from being quite flat to deep, like a cereal bowl, I guess, so soup bowl to cereal bowl. Using the diaphragm and pulling the diaphragm down as we breathe increases the capacity of our lungs. It means that instead of taking in, I think that it's something like 750 mils worth of air when we breathe just into the thorax, into the top part of the ribs, when we're doing that shallow rib breathing, it suddenly means that we have litres of air available to us. That means greater oxygenation, greater removal of waste products from the body. It gets our brains feeling more snappy and more awake. The other great thing about breathing diaphragmatically is it stimulates the vagus nerve, which comes through just down here, down through the diaphragmatic tissue. Now the vagus nerve is one of the key components in switching you away from being in an adrenalized state where we're starting to use the parasympathetic nervous system and switches across into the sympathetic nervous system. Now the sympathetic nervous system releases noradrenaline, a calming hormone, and it brings you back into a state of relaxation. If you think about the stress gradient, let's call it the stress gradient in the body. When we experience stressful situations, so originally it would have been a saber-toothed tiger attack. When we experience the fear of that saber-toothed tiger coming towards us, or the boulder rolling down the hill, or the village on fire, when we experienced any of those like emergency situations originally, we would freeze, and then our body was deciding if it was going to either run or fight. Nowadays, we do the same thing, so everything becomes a saber-toothed tiger. So we freeze and we get ready to fight or flight, which means that we start to produce adrenaline, we start to use more of the oxygen supply our brain, our lungs and our main muscles. It means that we shut down the oxygenation to like fingertips and to toes and also to digestion. Then what would happen originally is that we would have made the action, so we would have fought or we would have run, and then there would have been a period of calming down. Now we see this in animals quite often, that they shake, that they thaw, that they get rid of that excess adrenaline and they start to steady their bodies back down. Modern life is such that everything is a saber-toothed tiger. Everything demands in the back of our brain that we either fight or run. But because there's a continuing cycle of things that we're running away from or fighting, whether it's email or traffic or trying to get to work on time or trying to get the kids to school on time or deadlines, all of those things mean that there's a constant stimulation, that we're constantly creating adrenaline. And we forget to calm down. We never go through that continuing circle which takes us into the thaw out and the relaxation response. It means that our stress levels go up and up and up and up, and we don't even realise that we're up here stressed all the time when we should be down here perfectly kind of calm. Being up here means that our body is constantly pushing out adrenaline, it's constantly pushing down cortisol. Diaphragmatic breathing is a really simple way of reminding the body to come down from here and to start stepping back down the gradient. Now from here to here is a hard thing to achieve like that, but gradually it can be done. And as therapists we can work with the body in so many ways that allow our clients to calm and settle But as therapists, we need to remember to do that too. We have to work on ourselves before we can work on anyone else. So let's talk through diaphragmatic breathing and how it's going to work in your body and how you're going to do it. And then you'll be able to feel the effects yourself. Alrighty, so generally the best way to do diaphragmatic breathing as a little exercise is to do it laid down on the floor. Now, you do it laid down because it takes your structural muscles, it takes the abdominals and the obliques and your psoas out of the system so much. It means that you can actually flop and relax. But I'm going to do it sat up, and it's totally cool if you aren't able to find the space to lie down to do it. Sat up is fine. You've just got to remember to flop a little bit more. Now, what you'll find is down your sternum there is a line of neuromuscular points. Neuromuscular points are like switches, they're reset buttons. And we're going to use the neuromuscular points to get you into diaphragmatic breathing a little more easily. Put one hand on your stomach. And what I want you to do is to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe in through your nose, try not to lift the ribs, but try to raise your hand. Think about your body as a barrel. Or if you've seen those kind of big fat Chinese Buddhas, Maitreya, think about your body like Maitreya. So as you breathe in, you want to expand three-dimensionally. It's not just puffing your tummy out, but it's about seeing whether you can give your low back the permission to soften. If you can give your sides the opportunity to just let go. That's why we do it laid down, because it takes those muscles that want to pin you in out of the equation so much. Again, it's a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're going to build those neuromuscular points in now. So hand on your tummy still thinking about breathing in and lifting your hand as you breathe in. You're going to rub down your sternum, all these points here. Rub, 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 rub. Rubbing down your sternum stimulates the neuromuscular points that get the brain to talk to the diaphragm. Anywhere where you feel like it's stuck or icky or sore, you actually need to rub more, but go gently. And just as a result of rubbing those spaces, I can feel my breath dropping and deepening. Alright, so again, we're going to do that. Deep breath in through the nose, raising our hands, expanding our body in 3 dimensions, okay? Do you think you might still be struggling a little more? For some of us, it's really hard to get the breath all the way down here. That's why practice is good. There's another neuromuscular point you can use. Again, it's going to help you deepen your breath. So, from your head, your hairline back to your fontanelle, it's about 4 inches. So halfway along that point. So 2 inches back from your hairline, there is another neuromuscular point. Let's try that breath again. So we're going to breathe in through your nose, lifting our hand, expanding our belly and into our back and out to the sides. We're going to keep our ribs nice and still, okay? You can even play with it a little bit more. I'm going to put a pause in at the top of the in-breath. You ready? Just allowing that gaseous exchange to take place even more effectively and efficiently. That was diaphragmatic breathing. It's really, really helpful, especially if you're stressed out yourself or working with a really stressed client. You can affect greater change in somebody's body when you get them to take responsibility and control of their breath first. Remember, there's nothing we can do in this world which doesn't require breath. I'll see you on the next one.